Warning: Josh is not an expert in any of the crap he talks about. He simply uses his head and does a lot of research so you, the audience, don't have to. Keep in mind, he doesn't know everything, so take the he says with a grain of salt.
What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast that'll change the world. I'm the host, Josh, to Josh Said What, and I have a special guest with me, Mr. Mayor Sheehy of Lake Havasu City.
Excellent. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. I appreciate it.
Yes.
All right, so just going and kick it off. Why don't you explain a little bit of the position of mayor? Because most people like my age and don't really know too much about like all the handlings and the responsibilities of it. So we're going to start that off.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm the mayor of Lake Havasu City, which is obviously a beautiful community in northwest Arizona. We're about 57,000 residents on the base of the Colorado River, Lake Havasu, and then we're known for our namesake, the iconic world-famous London Bridge.
Yeah.
So it's a great community, and as mayor, my responsibility is to work alongside my 6 colleagues on the council. So I have there's 7 of us total. Myself as mayor, we have a vice mayor, and then we have 5 council members. Together, we set and make policy for Lake Havasu City. That policy then is implemented by the city manager and their team on what they're going to do. But as mayor, I act as the CEO of Lake Havasu City.
Okay.
I work with our citizens to ensure that we have good public policy that works in the best interest for Lake Havasu City. And then I work on things to make Lake Havasu City of tomorrow better than it is already today. And so combined with, again, my colleagues, we do that great work for Lake Havasu City, and I'm honored to be able to do so.
Oh, okay. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, because having lived here in Havasu for a good minute, I kind of like that. Always kind of look into the future with Havasu and then some of the history behind it. Like I remember being told about the London Bridge, how when it was bought, it just had to be shipped piece by piece. And the reason why Britain or the UK, they sold us the London Bridge, based on what I remember, is because it was actually sinking.
Yes.
So they had it. So they sold it off and they built a new one. Actually.
Yeah. So yeah, the nursery rhyme from when we were kids of London Bridge is falling down. It truly was falling down. It was
quite
sinking into
literally.
the River Thames. So so the city of London was looking for a way to dispose of it that still kept the heritage and the history of that bridge intact. And the founder of our community, Robert P. McCulloch, was the winning and successful bidder. And amazingly, we'll be celebrating our golden anniversary. So 50 years since the dedication of that London Bridge here in Lake Havasu City in its new American home, actually this October. So just next month, we'll be celebrating that history here in our community.
Wow. So it's already been here for 50 years?
Yeah. So it's been dedicated. It was dedicated in 1971. October of 1971 was when it was dedicated. But crews started building it and repurposing it here in 1968. So,
okay.
Pretty exciting.
Yeah, and then they had I remember learning that with the channel, they actually had to manufacture the island so that way they could accommodate the bridge.
Yeah, so they built the bridge actually over dry land. And so they built the bridge and positioned it on dry land. And then they diverted the federal waterway to create what is now the channel and what the bridge spans over.
Yeah.
The island, as we refer to it here in Lake Havasu City, was once a peninsula. And then when Robert McCulloch diverted that waterway, we now have what we call the mainland and the island. Of course, the island's just a small 4-mile radius.
Yeah.
But great recreation out there, launch ramps, homes, resorts, and the like out there.
Yeah, and definitely a lot of the locals and a lot of tourists love it too, because the fact that they could just sit right on the shore, enjoy themselves, spend 4th of July with their kids and families and everything as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great way to get to the beach and the shores of Lake Havasu in a car and in a pretty readily way, but also to be away from people. So you don't have to go to, we have developed beaches too that people like and enjoy, but this is more of a rugged approach to getting out on the lake, going to the island.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Man, so another question I had is, how's your experience being mayor?
It's been good. I was a council member first. So in 2014, I was fortunate to be elected by the citizens of Lake Havasu City as a council member. I did one term from 2014 to 2018. And then I ran for mayor in 2018 and have been elected mayor of Lake Havasu City, taking office in November of 2018. So we've been doing good work and moving forward and moving Lake Havasu City forward. We also, a year after taking office as mayor, the pandemic began, and so that was a whole different set of circumstances that we were managing through,
Yeah.
balancing the safety and health of our citizens with their ability to do what is right for them and their families. And so we've been working and focused on that, all the while keeping focused on the greater plan for Lake Havasu City, which is obviously making the Lake Havasu City of the future even better than it is already today.
Yeah, I know the pandemic especially has made things very interesting and intriguing, just to be able to handle situations, 'cause like what we were talking beforehand, just with being able to handle the overall situation with the pandemic and the effects it has on people and kind of the society and city and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's interesting because everybody views it differently,
Mhm.
and the set of circumstances impacts them and their families differently.
Mhm.
They come from different perspectives, and so it's managing all of those different perspectives that citizens throughout our community have, and how do we ensure that they are being heard and their needs are met while the needs of others are being met that have different perspectives and different
Yeah.
thoughts. And so, we can come together and agree on allowing citizens and encouraging citizens and creating a footprint for citizens to be able to make decisions that best support their needs. And so, obviously, they know what's best for themselves and their family. We work to set those opportunities up so that there was options. Early on, it started with testing and testing availability. So we helped set those resources up. So if that was a pathway or an avenue that citizens believed or needed or wanted, that would be there for them.
Mhm.
As we moved throughout the year and vaccines became an option, we worked with public health to help set up that infrastructure. So if that's a pathway that citizens need or want or is in the best interest of where they're going, that's an opportunity and available to them. And then just continuing on with sharing of information and sharing resources. Certainly, when you have a novel or a new virus
Yeah.
that no one knows anything about,
Yeah.
information changes fast.
Yeah, very fast. And then it's with, especially because with the pandemic and the virus itself, there's just so much confusion on it as well. Just as you're saying, with like the handlings of it, what works best for each individual in every case, because there's all kinds of factors that, of course, come into play. And then also, it's on like a public perspective, it's just a very interesting thing to handle with trying to be able to take all the appropriate steps to ensure the best safety of everyone, dealing with the majoritarian politics, things like that, and then providing the opportunities for everybody.
Yes, absolutely. And that's really what we stayed focused on. How do we balance that and take a real common sense approach to maneuvering our community through this, being mindful of doing what's in the best interests of all of our citizens.
Mhm.
And that was the approach we took and are continuing to do as we continue to do the great work of our community.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, what kind of future plans do you have for Havasu?
There's lots of different things that we're working on. So currently, one of our pain points in our community is housing, affordable housing, workforce housing, places for people to live that they can afford to live based on whatever occupation they choose within our
Right.
community. So we're working on that. Cities don't build housing, but we can help facilitate and create relationships and bring partners to the table. And then make that process easy from a zoning standpoint or a permitting standpoint. And so we're working diligently with a variety of different groups within the city limits and also in county areas to be able to bring a diversified housing product. So apartment homes, townhomes, single-family homes,
Right.
to give options for our citizens to have choices of what they might want to do. Another pain point we have is broadband infrastructure, so reliable, high-speed internet services for our community.
Yeah.
It's certainly lacking here. We work on a multi-pronged approach to addressing that. First, the current providers, we work to hold their feet to the fire to ensure that they're providing the services that they're selling to our citizens
Right.
in an affordable, high-speed, reliable internet way, which is not happening, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. And so we work with those partners to ensure that they build infrastructure in their capital plans to make sure that we can provide that service to our citizens. Our citizens certainly pay for it; they deserve it, and it's necessary to live in this world today.
Yeah.
An additional approach we're taking is trying to recruit other providers in. So let's create competition and create the opportunity for choices for our citizens to have, so that they can pick what works best for whatever their needs are when it comes to reliable, high-speed internet services that they use. And so we're working on that. And then we're also ensuring that we have jobs for the future, and so that our citizens have a place to work and make a good wage that they can put down roots here and have their families here and be invested, so that we can have a nice, vibrant community for everybody. And, we want folks that are, we'd love to have, babies and children running around in our parks and enjoying all of that, all the way to our grandparents enjoying their retirement years in our community and everything in between. And so we're working hard to ensure that that's an option for our citizens. And then we're working on some quality of life initiatives as well. So creating a downtown gathering space that encourages people to get out of their homes and recreate and celebrate with each other. And so we're working on those types of projects as well. So lots of different things. We have lots of irons in the fire, but what makes Lake Havasu City so great is the spirit and the community that we have. Our citizens all roll up their sleeves and do what's right for Lake Havasu City always. And so it's great to be a part of that and to be able to lead those efforts as mayor of Lake Havasu City, and collectively as a whole community build those components so that we have a stronger Lake Havasu City for our future.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. And I like that too with the different internet providers, because of course having the city help kind of regulate, make sure they don't take any shortcuts, stuff like that, that they're able to provide the service affordably, and then bring in competition. Like that's the part of capitalism that I like, because the competition will allow the things to kind of stable out and balance themselves out for the best interest of the consumer as well. And then I like the whole idea with Havasu being community orientated, because one thing I actually did discuss with David Lane was like future economic plans here, building a greater workforce. That way it's able to accommodate like the work shortage that's going on currently, and then just provide more incentive for people to want to move here or just stay here in general. So that way it's able to build the community more, get to know your own neighbors, stuff like that. Because I mean, at least from my experience nowadays, it just seems like you don't really get a chance to know your neighbors, get to know the community and everything. So providing more incentives for people to get out, to be recreational with each other, have that interaction is definitely very good, and it builds a community and will help build more interest for people to want to stay here in general.
Absolutely. And, one of the things I hear a lot from citizens that move here initially is they are so surprised that they're in the grocery store and someone says hello to them that they don't know, or that they're walking down the street and someone's like, "Hi, good morning, how's it going?" And they have a hard time overcoming, like, why is this person talking to me? And what's happening here? But then they quickly warm to it, and they're like, okay, this is a community, and this is a community that I'm glad I'm a part of. And so then they're now saying good morning and they're greeting folks. And so, it builds that. And then as we have these different events and community based gathering spaces, it just creates those opportunities for, as you said, folks to get out of their homes and recreate and see and gather with others and build that sense of community that creates that strong bond that they will stay here for generations to come. We're so new. We're only 50 years old.
Yeah, still very young.
Yeah, so we have maybe 2 generations deep, if we're lucky on certain families. But as we continue to grow and move forward, we will start to see more generations coming through Lake Havasu City, where their kids are born here, and then their grandkids are born here.
Yeah,
and their great grandkids are born here, and we are starting to see some of that now with third and fourth generations.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, because I talked about this with David Layton as well. In future, but I do also have like future economic plans for here in Havasu to help with that as well, to build more focus and love towards Havasu, provide more of an incentive for people to want to stay. Because David Lane, he was talking about the having a brain fart on the name of the group, but at the high school here, he'll frequently attend a group here. It's like the future generations of tomorrow, and they do a lot of debating, business handling, stuff like that. But he had asked them, out of everybody, like how many people plan to leave Havasu when they go, and all of them raised their hands. So like my goal in the future, as I build more roots here and more businesses, stuff like that, is to get less of those hands raised, so people be more passionate about staying here, giving back to the community, and really showing the love and just really making this a better place.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I support folks leaving for a period of time, whether it's for school or trade school or to go experience the world at any time or point in their life, and then come back and bring those perspectives.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. But I also love for people to stay here too, and that's why we worked so hard to ensure that we had educational opportunities for folks that were graduating high school. With partnerships with our community college. Mojave Community College is a fantastic program that you can get your 2-year degree or a wide variety of trade and technical certificates where you can go to work immediately at really good, well-paying jobs that have stable career pathways for the future.
Mm-hmm.
They have partnerships with Northern Arizona University out of the MCC campus for certain career pathways. And then, of course, we recruited ASU at Lake Havasu, which is a full ASU campus here in our community with a variety of different bachelor program pathways for our citizens to be able to get a quality education from a state university that they can do anything with, but do that right here from their home and not have to leave. And so that's fantastic. I would have loved that opportunity when I was in high school. I graduated from Lake Havasu High School, and we didn't have all those opportunities, but we did have one staple was MCC. It's 50 years old as well, and so I did go to MCC, and I did get my associate's degree, and then was able to move on to further my education with my bachelor's and later my MBA, which were goals for me based on the career pathways that I was looking forward to having in my lifetime. But again, there's so many different pathways for so many different citizens. And so we created all of those options. So trade, technical, associate degree programs, bachelor degree programs, all of that can happen right here in Lake Havasu City, thanks to the great work of so many of our citizens, that came before me and will come after me.
Yeah.
Their hard work is what makes Lake Havasu City so special.
Yeah, and a thing that I like too about MCC is the fact that because of it's rooted in a small city like this, you're able to have more of that personal connection between the faculty, the teachers, as well as the community and the students and everything. So that way it kind of builds more on that as well.
Oh, absolutely. MCC has a great campus atmosphere with, they're our neighbors.
Yeah.
We see them at these events and at the grocery stores. And also if you go to the ASU campus here in Lake Havasu, it's the same thing. It's the same feel. And so we're so fortunate to be able to have quality education that's first rated at the community college level as well as the university level, that is connected to our community in such a strong way.
Yeah.
It creates such great opportunities for those that choose to take advantage of them.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I'd say one of the last questions that I do have for you, because right now you're married, do you have any future plans to go beyond that in the future?
Well, I'm so honored to be the mayor of Lake Havasu City. We're doing great work. I work alongside a great team of people, city staff that helps implement the policy, my colleagues on the city council that are also elected by the citizens. And I'm honored to do that work, and we'll continue to do that work as long as we're making positive change and positive results. And then also working with our citizens and how I can be of best service to our citizens. And so I'm always engaging our citizens in a variety of different forums, whether it's face-to-face, outreach, group meetings, coffee with the mayor and city manager, social media, whatever it might be, engaging with our citizens to do that work. So as I look forward, I'm glad to be doing that in Lake Havasu City, and I would like to continue to do that in Lake Havasu City. And then whatever the future may bring, as long as I'm in service to our citizens,
Right.
then I'm open to that.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. And that's something I like too about Havasu. And David Lane, he had touched on that as well. It's just that how much focus there is on the community and things like that, using social media, doing the coffee meets and everything to really build that relationship and to really show the community that the primary focus of the people in office here is to really benefit the people here.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things that I've served on council, since 2014, and every council member that has come through and been elected has the same heart for Lake Havasu City and is passionate about our community and making our community better. Doesn't mean we always agree, but we at least are all starting from the same framework of being of service to our citizens and making Lake Havasu City better. So, but it's good to have debate, and it's good to have those conversations on different experiences and perspectives and thoughts and opinions, talk them through. And at the end of the day, it makes that policy all the stronger and all the better because of that discussion.
Exactly.
And so, no, I'm proud of the work that we've done with all of the council members that I've served with over the years.
Okay. Yeah, and that's something, one of my biggest emphasis I have for my podcast is the conversation, to be able to have the debate. Even if we won't always see eye to eye or have disagreements, the fact that we're able to still come together, still treat each other respectfully, civilly, able to have the debate, the conversation, regardless what the issue is, because it's through the conversation and through the debate that we're able to find the solution. Because like what David Lane had told me in the last episode, you can't find a solution without an argument.
100%. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have said it any better. I mean, that's what our system was built upon, is to have that conversation. And unfortunately, in some of our political issues that are going around the nation, is that people won't talk to each other.
Yeah.
And if you don't talk to each other, how are we going to solve anything?
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's why you see all of the roadblocks at the federal level on policy that could help the American people or could be bad for the American people, whatever the issue or policy discussion is. But we have to have the conversation and not be afraid to talk about what it is, the good, the bad, the ugly of that policy. And once we can have those open debates, those open discussions, and engage the American people, then we'll be able to put in things that are great for the American people, and allow us to be the shining star that we are as the United States of America.
Yeah, exactly. And because for me, like, this is just an interesting point. Like, growing up with me, I didn't really have as much interest in politics, American history, things like that. And I kind of had a pessimistic attitude towards America as a whole. But over time, as I've like read more and studied more, like, for example, I've quite literally actually read a textbook on American government from front to back, to kind of help my understanding of everything and how politics work on a national all the way down to city level, including how the media plays a part in that as well. But one of my goals in life that I've had since I was 15 actually is to learn everything. And that's something that obviously can't be achievable, but that's the point, to continue motivation. But with it, I also accept the fact that I could quite literally be wrong about everything. And I can't find that out until have the open conversation, the dialect and everything. Because like at the end of the day, this is going to be an echo chamber. And until we're able to have that civil conversation, find solutions and everything, and be willing to take criticism and where we're wrong and move forward from that, that's where like America truly thrives. And that's what we've been built upon.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that is what we've been built upon, and we need to get back to having the conversation. It all just starts with a conversation.
Yeah.
And oftentimes people have a view or an opinion or think it's a certain way, but it's not that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just not that at all. I mean, I'm the mayor of Lake Havasu City, yes, but when I got elected, nothing changed about who I am or what I do. So I'm still that same person where come talk to me and
Yeah.
let's talk it through. But oftentimes I'll read things or hear things of things that I supposedly said or did or do or don't do that are not even based on any part of truth at all.
Yeah.
And just talk to me. Well, we talk it through. I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing. I'm really not that interesting, but we can talk it through, and I'll answer, what it is that we're doing, why we're doing it, what my position is on the particular issue, but it starts with the conversation. Don't be
Yeah.
afraid to have the conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and even if it's out of your element too, like not everything, obviously, because I don't have a formal education. I've done a lot of my own self-education, so I always have the approach with each debate or just regular conversation I have to be open-minded, to hear the other party out, and to always kind of look at both sides of the spectrum. Because I study kind of a lot of both sides, watch a lot of both sides, and especially with how media and news are today, it's more so like yellow journalism, the attack journalism, which for people who don't know about it, like during the American Spanish War of 1898, a lot of big factors that played into that was the fact that we had this type of journalistic behaviors in media where they're just promoting stuff for sensationalism, even if it's not true. It's just to get that interest and to get something going. But it's like you need to steer away from that and just have the civil conversation and have just the understanding that we all have a mutual respect between each other and we all have the best interests.
Yeah, it's so important to remember that the media of today is entertainment television.
Yeah.
And so that 24-hour news cycle has created entertainment television that are opinion shows. They're great. They're great shows, and if you respect the opinion of those that are hosting them or having those shows, great. But know that there's other perspectives. That's just one person's perspective,
Exactly.
or spin on the story. And then there's other media outlets that are telling the story, but it's a third party point of view no matter what. It's one journalist or a group of journalists or a team of journalists that are telling the story. And so it's
Exactly.
their perspective. It's just human nature. So just you have to be able to read between the lines of what that looks like. And when you're engaging with your elected officials, just know when you're sending me an email, you're sending the email to me. I'm reading it.
Yeah.
And so the words that you're using, you're not talking to a robot or a computer bot. You're talking to me. And so you're going to get an answer from me. And so often the words and the word choices and the vulgarity of some of the emails I receive are atrocious.
Yeah.
And I'm not easily offended, but it's hard to have a conversation back and forth and for one party to take the other party seriously if that's the way you're going to start a conversation.
Yeah, exactly.
So-
You can't have a conversation by attacking the other person. It just comes down to mutual respect.
Yes, and at the end of the day, if we have differing opinions after we've talked it through, great. We shake hands and we move on.
Yeah.
And on to the next conversation or the next debate or the next topic or the next issue that's on your mind. But at the end of the day, I know for myself, I'm here to serve the citizens of Lake Havasu City, and I'll continue to do that based on the feedback and the conversations that I have with the community as a whole.
Right.
But yeah, mutual respect. I think that's exactly what it ties down to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, well, I think that wraps it up. I know you got to get going, so we'll go and wrap it up. It was great having you on those. I appreciate the opportunity as well.
Yeah, well, thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you, and I'm glad I could be a part of this, and I look forward to future conversations with you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And for all you guys watching, thank you so much. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, subscribe. Give a shout out to Lake Havasu. Shout out to Mayor Sheehy as well. Outstanding gentleman. And again, this podcast is about change the world through positive conversation. So yeah, again, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.